This video will demo file renaming in Xcode. We'll create a new project, OS X, OS 10 application command line tool. And notice that Xcode gave us default main.cpp. Okay, so let's add a new file to the project. It'll be a C++ file. And we'll also create a header file. If we uncheck this, we won't create a header file, but we want to do that. And notice that Xcode gives us the extension HPP. I think most people still use .h for a header file extension in C++. I guess HPP sort of matches CPP, and .h matches .c for C language. So I guess that's the thought. HPP is more C++ like. We can rename the file here in the project navigator. Or we could rename the file here in the utilities area. Notice that the change took effect over here in Project Navigator. But what we want to do is have a .h extension. Very often you'll probably find that the utilities area is invisible. You can make it visible and invisible with this tool button up here in the upper right. Notice there's also a tool button for the debug and console area and for the project navigator area. The names of all these areas, excuse me, by the way, can be seen in the help file. If you just scroll down from the default start place, you see this link here, workspace window overview, and it names the different areas for you. We don't really have to change all these HPPs to H's. This is a comment, and we just need a literal here to define a macro. But I suppose just for consistency's sake, we can change these things too. And now we get a not found error on .hpp because it's not there anymore. Now it's .h. And just as a side note, this has nothing directly to do with the issue at hand, but this may be configurable. I don't know, but Xcode by default gives you this standard io.h header, which is a C file. So let's change that to a C++ header. And okay, so let's give this program something to do. just there's going to be another issue if we compile it now. So let's just do that because it's also something that'll probably come up for you at one time or another. Linker command. We have a problem with the linker. Duplicate symbol main. So that means we have two main functions. And here's one. This is in the default main that Xcode gave us. There's a main function here. And there's a main function here. C++ has to start with the main function, so it can't start in two places at once. So that's why we got the linker error. So for this project, the obvious thing to do would be to delete main.cpp, because we're not going to use it. There may be times though when you want to have another file without compiling it, so we can delete it in the sense of removing it from the project without removing it from disk. And if we want it back, we can just add it back. A simpler way to do it, where we don't actually have to remove it from the project, but just remove it from the compile process, is to click on the project here in the navigator area, click on the Build Phases tab, expand Compile Sources, select the file that we do not want to compile, and click this minus sign tool button. If we want to put it back, use the plus sign tool button and add it back, but we want to leave it out. So that way you don't actually you can always, the file that you're ignoring for the time being, excuse me, is still accessible. And this time we don't get the linker error and the file runs. So I hope that was helpful, and I wish you happy coding.